We have been joined by Afzal Raza, who is the bureau chief of Iranian State News Agency in Islamabad. Thank you so much, Afzal, for joining us, and welcome to our show. I was looking at Netanyahu's statement that names America first in the list of those who are threatened by Iran, ahead of Israel itself. And this positions Israeli objectives as synonymous with U.S. security interest. Do you think it's deliberate? Because it looks like a diplomatic strategy to lock Washington into Israel's definition of an acceptable outcome. And do you think it would work? Because Trump has already declared a total victory.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yeah, this is a very doubtful thing because the Zionist leaders always seeking to be put in the priority list by the American leaders, not even the current war, the 40 days war, but for some decades ago. I mean, himself, the Netanyahu, I mean, many times try to convince every U.S. president to be more cautious on the Israeli interests. And for that, they need to address the so-called concerns of Israeli, which mainly and main objective is to targeting Iran. And now, since last night, with the mediation of the Pakistani military political leadership, and the outcome is on the ground right now, so it was not surprise for us that the person who are alleged and in many cases with the genocide in Palestine, in Gaza, and now trying to make some noise against the what I call the fragile ceasefire due to that Israeli factor. Mm-hmm. I mean, the main concern right now, that should be same concern for the mediators as well, that the Israel, I don't think would be silent and would not take any negative step to make some hurdles in the way of the process of this mediation and the diplomatic efforts. Which we will witness in coming days, maybe on Friday, for the negotiation between the parties. But the international community, I mean, this is obviously it's almost a concern for the Iranian side. It is not a new thing for them, but it is up to the international community, mm-hmm. as well as those brotherly countries, including Pakistan, which leading this mediation role. They should take care and be, awake about such suspicious activity by the Israelis.
Well, Afzal, in my opinion, Netanyahu has presented and crafted a new definition of the threat. It says there is a threat from Iran, and it presents Iran as a triple threat now. Nuclear, missile, terror. Terror has always been in their rhetoric, but pairing it with nuclear and missile capability and then attaching it to the US, Arab neighbors, and the world, it is much more expansive and enlarged a threat framing. What does that expanded frame require in concrete terms of any deal that emerges from Islamabad? Do you think this kind of fragility can take care of what they are doing?
You see, they are finding the old narrative, but trying to more update it in their sense. I mean, they're accusing again the old accusation against Iran, but trying to be more sharp, trying to be make a new pressure while U.S. is willing to come to a negotiation table. I mean, they need to bring but
let me interject here. In their opinion, now the threat is even bigger because Iran, which was a threat to US and Israel previously, is now a threat to the neighboring Arab countries as well and the world at large. This is a large framing.
Yeah. I was watching some Israeli media reports and their television. They are all shouting on the U.S. president that how he can accept these conditions from Iran without, attention and paying concern. What Israeli wanted from the outcome of such ceasefire, the interim ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran. I believe they will intensify their plots against the current efforts for the diplomacy until the U.S. and Iran manage to make a deal either in the first round of negotiation in Islamabad, either they are successful to extend this negotiation process. So I believe they will intensify the negative role to make more fragile this process and use such plots to undermine every efforts making by the parties of the conflict as well as the mediation sides like Pakistan.
Right. So this ceasefire, in which our Prime Minister explicitly said that it covers everywhere, it covers Lebanon as well. Netanyahu's office said it does not. So Iran's 10 conditions explicitly included Lebanon as well. Within hours of this announcement, there is a fundamental contradiction in what has been agreed. So which version of the ceasefire is actually in effect at the moment, and who has the authority to decide?
They should be. I mean, when the leader of this mediation process, I mean the Pakistan, when the Honorable Prime Minister of Pakistan clearly mentioned the immediate effective of the ceasefire between the parties and others group, including Lebanon, it's taking responsibility as well as towards the U.S. Even if U.S. wants to be more to pleasing Israelis and wanted to show some flexibility, it make Iran much worry and concern for their position as well. Iranian foreign minister already warned for such negative activity, even for not abiding to the 1 point, even from the 10 and 5 points of the agreement for the interim ceasefire. They need to be apply every single of points regarding the ceasefire. Yes, this is obvious that because Israelis started the invasion and attacking Lebanon just after the starting the aggression against Iran, and this is some of Netanyahu's aims to have some front. Have some more fighting to prolong his system in Tel Aviv and make some scenarios for his people that we have still under threat. It is maybe
so
a bigger threat from Iran and still under Lebanon.
For various reasons, for this narrative over there to prevail and for the upcoming elections as well. My last question to you, Iran's Farsi language 10-point proposal included the enrichment rights. The English version did not. How do you frame it?
What was the line?
The Farsi version of whatever the enrichment rights that Iran wants to sustain and contain, it is there in the Farsi language, but it's not in the English version.
I think such technicality and is
it deliberate?
In details should have been changed between the parties. I mean, if you are asking me what is in the Farsi version, it is from the 1 and 10, including the stopping the fully cessation of the war from the aggressor, lifting the sanctions, including the secondary sanctions, ending all of anti-Iran resolution from the UN Security Council and IAEA, and protect the rights of the groups which affiliated with Iran, including the Lebanon, and more important thing, the sovereignty and the control, the Iran's control on the Strait of Hormuz should be discussed and should be find a flexible way to end of this crisis.
Right. Afzal Raza, thank you so much for joining us.